Big Lake had a big problem spreading down.
Wait for Linda to get down.
Yeah, it's climate change. It's getting
right. It doesn't have a
you got noisy, but they accelerate, grab,
right. Exactly.
But we want to
dirt
minimize
from the
it.
bottom. We used to spend
We know we should be going off different windows.
shallow,
Having
jet
the will
ski, more
Hey Wayne, you wanna come up?
Sure.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming out. I know it's short notice. We're just so appreciative of the fact that Joyce Craig was able to stop today. And really, thank you for coming to the North Country. Welcome back. I mean, look, you brought the sun with you. I think that's a great omen. But no, really, we wanted you to see the beauty that we're fighting to protect. I mean, we're going on 6 years now. I mean, families come here. This is the only free state park beach in the North Country. Folks get married up there on the little knoll. But no one will come here and utilize this if there's an operating landfill less than a mile away in the direction the wind blows towards. You know, the wind comes east-southeast, so the noise, the odor, then the birds, of course, they'll threaten our loon population. So anyway, really, thank you for coming, and you did a great job yesterday, and I really just feel so strongly that you're going to be our next governor. So really, Wayne?
We want to thank you for, in many ways, this is a really complicated issue and there's a lot of things to be discussed. But at its core, it's a simple, you know, I always said if you brought a group of 6th graders and you had them stand here and you looked out and you say, is this a good place to put a landfill? I mean, that's a 5-minute conversation. Yeah. The rest of it, complexity helps people who have sinister things that they want to do. And I think the state knows what we need to do. What we need is a backbone, and we need a commitment to actually go in a different direction. 2 or 3 years ago, after 20 years without any plan, the state finally, DES came up with a solid waste management plan. And that plan, the whole overarching goal of that plan is to reduce the amount of waste that goes into the waste stream every year. And a whole group of people took a year. Karen Ebel chaired a working group, and the outcome of that was we really need to stop landfilling and we need to start doing diversion things. We need to do what other states are doing. We need to compost at a scalable level. We need to move away from either incinerating or landfilling. We know it's the worst use of land. So what we need is a new administration, and we need a governor, unlike the one that's in the office today, who's willing to turn to the agency and say, listen, you need to start putting the environment first. You are not paired with industry. Your job is not to assist the applicant to get a permit. Your job is to defend the health and the safety of people in the state. So we're very excited. For the first time in 5 years, we feel like we have somebody that's willing to stand up and do the right thing. And unfortunately, the timing is going to be, as you assume office, a lot of things are diverging at the same time. So we need your help. We're willing to roll. We've been rolling up our sleeves. We've been putting our hearts and souls into this, but we need somebody in a position to help, and we want to be there for you. But a lot of things we need help, and we need it quickly. So I hope that anything we can do to give you information and provide you with knowledge is power, and the industry will sell you a million reasons why the trash is gonna build up on the street. There's gonna be no place. The technical term is bullshit. That is not true. We have more capacity than we will need for decades. We have time to think about it. And I'll tell you one thing we could do right off the bat is we're gonna put legislation in the pipeline, and we need a moratorium. We need to step back, we need to stop. Yep. And we need to figure out what we wanna do about PFAS, what we wanna do about out-of-state waste. If we fix the out-of-state waste problem, we won't need capacity for the next 100 years. And from a political standpoint, Joyce, there isn't a person in the state in either party that believes out-of-state waste is good for New Hampshire. Right. And I'm so happy to hear you saying that. We're just appalled that it's gone this far. But we're at an inflection point. This is the time that we can really make a difference. private companies are driving that. If you deny this permit, if we stop this project, we will cut out half the out-of-state waste coming in. So now is the time. So we're excited, and we hope that we can help you get elected and make this happen.
Yay, Wayne.
No, me. I think, just a quick segue. Even more imminent than the project itself are the landfill rules that DES is about to promulgate. So just some numbers and common units. Every other state, countries like Nigeria, India that you don't think of as environmentally conscious countries, they don't put landfills where the pollution is moved through the soil faster than about a foot per year. DES wants 15 feet per day because they need that to permit this. This is the worst tract in the state. It's a gravel pit. It goes right into the lake or the Ammonoosuc, which is a scenic river, and they've never even, the applicant has not dug below 50 feet, and all the people over there draw water from 300 feet down, so they have no idea what's going on underground. But those rules, I've been a federal regulator for 40 years, worst rules on the planet, and somebody needs to get in there, and we're going to try to stop them at jail car, but it's a disgrace. So we're looking, unfortunately it's going to be very early in the next year.
And is it not true that they continue to tweak the proposed rules until they finally got a match?
Yep, they weakened it four times in the last year because the meeting notes show Casella came in and said, still not weak enough. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to thank all of you for the work that you've done and the time that you've spent with me, educating me on all of this. I, as mayor of Manchester, on the city council, on the school board, my priority has always been the health and safety of residents. And it's really clear to me, having not been involved in this for the last 5 years, but clear to me, like you said, this is not the place that we should have a landfill. And at the end of the day, it is the health and safety of our residents that we have to protect. In Manchester, I preserved thousands of acres of land around our watershed with waterworks because we knew it was the right thing to do. And we know so much more today than we did before years ago on PFAS and the effects of that. And again, we've just got to do everything we can to make sure we're doing what's right for generations to come in New Hampshire, and that's where I am. And just know I am going to be leaning into your expertise to help with this, and really appreciate the advocacy that you have done and the time that you've put into this to bring this to light to so many people. It's really made a difference, so thank you for doing the right thing, for all of your work, and we can stop this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Your comment about what you've done in Manchester and the environment would be good for your publicity.
Okay. Yeah.
Even downstate, people
Yeah.
need to know that you did that.
And they
Yeah,
know
we
that
haven't heard
billion
that.
gallons of leachate that will come from there will go to Concord.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
more and more
it's-
people are realizing,
Yeah.
and half of that billion is out-of-state trash turned into out-of-state leachate. I mean, it's just,
But we've seen the impacts too of PFAS and small communities in New Hampshire now, and it's so real, right? And it's just
Well, and we've tested the lake, we've tested private wells all around the vicinity of the proposed landfill, which, just as a point of reference, is going to lie in that direction, about less than a mile. And we have no PFAS detections in the entire vicinity. So we have clean water.
Yeah.
And we'd like to keep it that
Right,
way.
right.
So
It's not just an environmental issue too. The North Country's economy is driven by tourism, and if you go to Littleton and you see it's hard to get a parking spot. People are coming here because they love the area. It would take 5 minutes if the Ammonoosuc River gets contaminated. That all is at risk,
Right.
and it's so unnecessary. So
And
there's
it-
huge economic impact to this, not just here but all across the state.
Yep.
So, I mean, I know some people think we're a bunch of tree huggers, and it's but it's much more than that. Our livelihood. I mean, really, it's really about what are we leaving the next generation?
Right.
We've had the pleasure and the opportunity to enjoy this, and we're trying to preserve it. And you talk to anybody who comes to New Hampshire, they're not coming to look at our landfills. They're coming for our open spaces. And our,
Right.
I know people who operate the tramway, and they say people always ask, "What is that scar down there?" It's NCS.
Yeah.
But they see it, and they're disturbed by it, and you can see that from mountaintops. And this would be not just the first landfill on the Ammonoosuc, but we already have NCS 4 miles up the river already leaking.
You're both
and you can smell the air. It's fresh, you know. And listen, there's no noise. Yeah, Casella wants to operate Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
So would you bring your family here for a barbecue and your kids go swimming with an operating landfill less than a mile away?
And I live about a mile from NCS, and it wakes me up in the morning, and there are times where I'm driven inside because of the odor, and I'm between woods, not a lake. So it's not a good thing.
And just to add, out west, water is the #1 concern. It is an invaluable resource. And we have water, and we are idiotic enough to consider messing with this pristine natural resource. We might be shipping that water out someday. But if we mess it up now, we are fouling something that people in the West are fighting over.
I always said the North will rise again because we have water. Someday.
And trees.
Joyce, would you say hi to Berkeley and Harry Parento, the creators of this?
Berkeley?
Yeah.
Berkeley and Henry.
Harry.
Hi, Berkeley and Harry. I love the art that you created. Thank you for protecting the lake.
Thank you so much.
They're kind of our mascots.
They're in
Well,
school.
So,
that's great.
but really, thank you for coming up here and
Thank
seeing
you for the time.
seeing what
And
we're
it's
fighting
again,
for.
The years that you have been fighting for this, and
It's a fight worth fighting, though.
yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Another issue that's very much parallels the dump here is the North Country deserves more than ATVs. Just like a dump a mile away from a home disturbs people, ATV trails a mile away from a home is noisy and dusty. And just like the Department of Environmental Services needs to live up to its mandate to protect our environment, right now Governor Sununu is telling the AG to fight the homeowners who want the AG is saying the Bureau of Trails does not have to follow the siting laws of OHRV trails. The AG is saying the Bureau of Trails has sovereign immunity. So the law is written to say where an ATV trail can go, which in Gorham would have prevented it on the rail trail. The AG is saying, oh no, we're king, you don't have to follow the laws. And so everything has a place. And a dump is not next to a lake, and ATV trails are not in neighborhoods. And you should know it's from the top down. The law is very clear. You know, no ATV trail can be on any state land without the management plan saying so. They just ignored that in Gorham on the presidential rail trail, and they put ATVs on there. And so 7 households have sued the state. 6 years into it, we're waiting for the Supreme Court to decide whether or not they've never questioned the facts of the case, but oh, we're the king, we can do no wrong in the 21st century.
And it's only symbolic, but just for your point of information, 49 states have departments of environmental something, protection, quality, management, control. We're the only one who commodifies it as services. So they need to, erase the granite, rename it, and then rebuild it, because the staff is terrific, but the middle management and the upper management has been
There's a lot of good.
naughty, unresponsive.
the
Scott
vision,
and Wimsat and the division directors.
There's a lot of good people buried in that agency, but they need new leadership. And it needs to start. To me, it needs to start at the governor's seat. And this thing can't get better without that department getting healthy and getting really living up to. You look at their website and it says all the right things, but the reality is very different. And we can't really do the things we need to do if that agency sees itself as an extension of industry.
Right.
And their lot in life is not to make it easier to get a permit. Your lot in life should be to protect and defend the health and safety of the citizens and the environment. And I don't know how it's drifted that way over a long period of time, but it's all about leadership. That thing can turn on a dime with the right person.
And they're brazen about it. They say very boldly, we want them to get to yes. We don't want to play gotcha with the applicants. And then they say, well, we listen to everybody. Anybody's welcome to come in. But when people like us come in or we testify, they nod their head, they look at their watch, your time is up. The meeting notes reflect they negotiate. We want to come in and negotiate with them, or not have the other side do that. But it's totally on uneven hand. And we finally
bought 140 acres of land for